Welcome to Console Crapshoot, where normally we would spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware, but every 20 episodes, every time we do another 20, we add them to this massive tier list that I'm realizing is getting way too big. We just passed episode 120, so let's add the new ones to the list. We can start with episode 101. This was Chu Man Fu on the TurboGrafx 16. Really funny episode, one of my favorite episodes that I made, and the game was fine. It was just kind of a normal. I gave it a 3, like a solid 3. Let me see where I would put this. This episode actually got shadow banned. A couple of them did, and I never know what rhyme or reason was why an episode gets shadow banned, but this one, if you watch it, you'll know why. It's pretty obvious. Let's see. Was Chu Man Fu better than baseball for the Neo Geo? You know what? I'm gonna put Chu Man Fu right between, what was the name of that? 2020 baseball for the Neo Geo CD and Aggressive Inline on the GameCube. I think that's about right. It's just a basic puzzle game. Episode 102, we played Lego Batman. I gave that a solid 4. It's kind of like just like a good corporate product that everyone likes. I kind of dig the Lego Batman games, the Lego games in general. Let's see. It's not as good as Conker's Bad Fur Day, not as good as Jet Grind Radio, Siphon Filter. I'm gonna put it between Siphon Filter and Sonic Sega All-Stars Racing on the Wii. That's kind of where that goes, I think. Next we had Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. This was the only Wii U game we played so far. I gave this a high 4, and that was a great game. Better than Psychonauts and Flight Simulator, yeah. As good as Mortal Kombat 2, yeah. Alright, you know what? I'm going to put it between Puppeteer on the PS3 and Mortal Kombat 2 on the 32X. Mortal Kombat 2 is a classic, but it's just a better game. I'm going to stick with that. Saints Row 2 on the Xbox 360, that was the other shadow banned game. I gave this a solid 4. Definitely not as good as Xenoblade Mortal Kombat 2. I want to put this below X-Men Legends, 3 Dirty Dwarves. I'm going to put this between 3 Dirty Dwarves on the Saturn and Dissidia on this was Dissidia Final Fantasy Duodecim on the Vita. Was it the Vita or the PSP? I don't remember. Let's look real quick because it's going to bother me. That was the PSP. So next we had Matra Melee on the Neo Geo. Wacky fighting game, as are many of the Neo Geo fighting games are really wacky. We played another one of those coming up, but Matra Melee is right around that Lego Batman area. Better than Donkey Konga on the GameCube. Donkey Konga 3. The Japanese on the GameCube. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right between Donkey Konga and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Let's see, 106, we played Yakuza on the PS2. What did I give that? I gave it a 3, like a high 3. It was just a good game, but I didn't think it aged too well. Yakuza, let's see. Was Yakuza better than Sonic Shuffle? Yeah. Better than Vigilante 8? That's tough. Yeah. Better than Star Wars Racer Revenge? Yeah. Better than Daxter? Yes, but not better than Time Stalkers on the Dreamcast. So I'm gonna put that right there. Episode 107 was Resident Evil Code Veronica on the Dreamcast. I gave that a 4. Let's see. Definitely, was it better than Matra Melee, which we just put up here? Yeah. Better than Siphon Filter? I think so. Better than Jet Set Radio Future? No. I'm gonna put it between Jet Set Radio and Siphon Filter on the PS1. All right, now we got hit with a bunch of Jaguar stuff. This was Flashback: The Quest for Identity on the Jaguar. One of the better Jaguar games, I gotta be honest. This was probably a very high 3, which is very high for a Jaguar game. I'm gonna go ahead and was it better than Yakuza? It definitely had more charm for the time. It was pretty impressive at the time. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say right below Yakuza and right above Daxter. So it's gonna go right there. Let's see, where were we? Episode 109 was NFL 2K3 on the Xbox. I'm not a big football game fan, but this was my football game. So this got a high 4 from me. Not quite as good as where we were before. Xenoblade, Mortal Kombat, Psychonauts, Flight Simulator, Hydro Thunder, X-Men Legends. Legends. I know this is recency bias and I'm putting things next to things that I just recently put up on the tier list, but I'm going to put this right between Saints Row 2 and Three Dirty Dwarfs. That's where I feel like that belongs. Good, solid game. Let's see. Episode 110 was Three Ninjas Kickback on the Super Nintendo. I gave this a low 3, and I stick by that. Not a bad looking game for what it was, but Three Ninjas is stupid. And a lot of people got mad at me for saying Three Ninjas was stupid, but it's kind of stupid. Watch it again, I dare you. Three Ninjas, let's see, was it better than Gods on the Genesis? Yeah. Better than Machine Head. Definitely not better than Lunacy on the Saturn. I'm gonna put it right there. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Okay, now this is the really hard one. I wish I could save this for last, but we're going in order. This is gonna be the one that I tortured myself over and could not make up my mind. Episode 111, we played Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Obviously gave it a 5. Problem is it better than our number 1 game on the list, which is Super Mario 64? I went back and forth, was talking to Morgan about it a bunch. I just didn't know what to do. Was making cases, watched the old episodes and everything. Is Link to the Past better than Mario 64? Mario 64 changed everything. It was the game that completely blew our minds at the time. We had never seen anything like it. It changed video games forever. And Zelda Link to the Past was kind of the pinnacle of games like that. Like top-down, adventure RPG. It's one of the best Super Nintendo games ever made. It's awesome, and they're two totally different things. Like, how do you compare them? One is like how you felt at the time. Like Mario 64 blows just about any game out of the water in that category. But as far as replayability and how it's aged, you gotta hand it to Zelda Link to the Past. Like, I'd much rather play that. I mean, I still have fun playing Mario 64, but it hasn't aged that great. No N64 games pretty much have aged terribly great. Link to the Past is a better game in terms of how complete it is, how well it's put together, and how well it's aged. Mario 64 is amazing, and it's been number 1 on our list for a really long time, but I'm gonna have to put Zelda in the number 1 spot over Mario 64, and that took me a couple of hours to suss out what I was gonna do there. But moving on, episode 112 for the Vita, that was Samurai Warriors 4-2. I gave that a 3. That was for the Vita. That's like a mid-upper 3. I want to say that is, those Warriors games are kind of like whatever, just hack and slash to me, and they're not that special. I kind of want to put it over here, maybe between Pinball Quest on the NES and Magician Lord on the Neo Geo. I think that's a good spot for that. That feels about right. World Court Tennis on the TurboGrafx 16 was episode 113. I gave this one a low 4. It was just real basic game, but it was so cool how they made an RPG. It was like a Pokemon style handheld RPG, but it was also a tennis game. So instead of battling with animals, it was a tennis game. So low 4. Let's see. Was it better than Gremlins on the Atari 5200? Yeah. Better than King of Fighters 2000? Yeah. Better than Indiana Jones on the Super Nintendo? Yeah, I'm gonna stick it there between Spyro 3 and Indiana Jones. Next was episode 114, Star Trek Shattered Universe on the Xbox. It's kind of a high 2. It didn't really hold to the canon of Star Trek. They didn't really get Star Trek in this game, but they did get George Takei, which is super cool, and that was the highlight of the episode. Just like listening to unhinged things that George Takei said. This is I2. Let's see, was it better than the Daedalus Encounter on the 3DO? No, because that was wacky. I'm gonna put it between Daedalus Encounter on the 3DO and Mad Maestro on the PS2. So like a high 2. Episode 115 was Iron Soldier 2 on the Jaguar CD. I hate the damn Jaguar, but this is one of the better games. Again, we got lucky. We've gotten some of the best games for the Jaguar and Jaguar CD. We also played Alien vs. Predator a while back on episode 98. There's not many more good ones to go, but this was one of them. This is kind of a middle of the road 3. I want to say not as good as Freaky Flyers on the Xbox. Better than, I'm gonna put it between Freaky Flyers and Project Horndowl on the PS1. That's where it's gonna land for me. Definitely not as good as Flashback, which was that other one. Fast Food Panic on the Wii. Played this one with Morgan. It got a little crazy. Not a great game. Kind of a shovelware junk Wii game, which there's many of. Not the worst one I've played by far, but gave this one a 2. Kind of middle of the road. Better than Snake's Revenge. Better than Deep Blue. I'm gonna put it You can't be better than Riot Zone because that game was so funny. Better, not as good as Riot Zone, but better than South Park on the N64. I'll put it there. Yeah, that's about right. Nah, you know what? I changed my mind. Worse than South Park, but better than Royal Rumble on the Genesis. This is a complicated scientific process. Robinson's Requiem on the Jaguar CD, again, was episode 117. Hated this. Barely played it, though, to be fair. Gave it kind of like a high 1. It was probably a good PC game, but it was awful. I had trouble just getting into it. It was just kind of torture. Probably didn't give it a fair score, but whatever. You play a random Jaguar CD and see how you feel about life. See if you can face your life and look at yourself in the mirror. Robinson's Requiem, was it better than, not as good as Fahrenheit? Was it better than Mary, Kate, and Ashley's Sweet 16 License to Drive? Believe it or not, no. Was it better than Bratz the movie? No, that was a game. I'll say it was better than Rap Jam on the SNES, but not as good as Land Before Time Great Valley Racing Adventure on the PS1. How about that? We're almost done. So Pokemon Snap on the N64. Got a newfound appreciation for this game where I didn't like it really when it came out, but very cool, solid game, great gameplay, fun to try to beat your scores. Solid upper 4, I would say, for that one. Let's see, where were we? So is it better than NFL 2K3, which we just had? Yeah, it's better than NFL 2K3. It's a better video game. Three Dirty Dwarves, yeah, but not as good as X-Men Legends. That's where I'm gonna put that, I think. X-Men Legends was dope. Episode 119, we played Waku Waku 7 on the Neo Geo. Great fighting game. I want to say that was definitely better than Metro Melee, but Metro Melee was great. That's interesting. Put it next to Mortal Kombat 2 as a fighting game. It's tough because, like, is it technically a better fighting game? Yeah, but does it have the impact of Mortal Kombat 2? No, but it did have the best fighting game character of all time in Dandy J. So maybe are we gonna edge out Mortal Kombat 2? I can't do it. That's too much. But I am gonna put it above Psychonauts, between Mortal Kombat 2 and Psychonauts. And finally, episode 120, last episode, we had Fallout 3 on the 360, which was huge game. For a lot of people, this is a 5. This is a masterpiece. For me, not so much. I love it. It's a good game. It's a great game, but not quite there for me. Very flawed, but wonderful game. So where do we want to put it? I think it's better than Mortal Kombat 2 for sure. Better than Xenoblade Chronicles X? Better than Puppeteer? Rogue Squadron? No. I'm going to put it between Xenoblade and Mortal Kombat 2. Is Fallout 3 better than Xenoblade? That's so hard to just make a snap judgment on. It's really not a better game. Xenoblade's pretty impressive. So yeah, I think this is what we're going to go with. 120 games on this tier list. I wonder when, the tier list, the tier maker thing stops you. Like, when is it too many? It feels like this is an awful lot of guys, but maybe you can do a lot more than this. All right, and now let's do everyone's favorite part. If you're a real fucking dork like me, you like statistics. I like looking back at 120 episodes worth of statistics. That's fun. So what do we have? We have the first stat we're going to look at is how many games, like what year did we play the most games from? And it seems like 1995 is the winner every time lately. Like we played 12 games from 95 and second place is in 2000. We played 9 games and that's tied for 1994 as well. 1995 was like a sweet spot. If you think about it, you had not only Genesis releases, but Sega CD, 32X, Saturn, PS1, 3DO, Jaguar, all that stuff was coming out. And then the PS1 was just about coming out there too. So like a lot of systems came out for that time, hence why we tend to get that year so much. As far as systems we've played, what system have we played the most? Well, it's Dreamcast right now. Dreamcast we've played 8 times, and tied for second place is a 4-way tie, Saturn, Xbox, N64, and Genesis. Interestingly enough, if you combined the Jaguar and the Jaguar CD, that would be winning with 9. Unfortunately, we've played a lot of that. But they're two separate things. If I did that, I'd have to combine the Genesis and the Sega CD, and that would probably be winning. Yeah, that would actually be tied with 9 as well. So Dreamcast still the leader, and I'm not mad at that because I love the Dreamcast. And as far as rankings we gave out, this has changed quite a bit. The 2s and the 3s used to be way in the lead. We've given out so many 2s and 3s, but lately on the show, like we had a lot of 4s in the last like 30, 40 episodes. So the 4s have like crept ahead barely. We've had 36 4s, 35 3s, 24 2s. We've only had 13 1 out of 5s and 11 5 out of 5 masterpiece games. So those are the rankings we gave. And I have this little section here, which I just like to keep track of what systems get what kind of scores. The Dreamcast has the most games with 3.5. The ones in green here are any system we've played 4 or more times. And I think the highest ratings by far are the 360 and the PS3 are both tied. And the Quest actually are all 3-way tie for 4.3 is the average score for those. So I seem to like my 360, PS3, and Quest games. 360 and the Quest are games I purchased. So the PS3 actually, I say, has a slight edge because that is the entire PS3 library we've played at random. And that's hanging up there with the games I purchased on the 360, the ones that I owned, in my own collection as they came out. Don't have full libraries for those. But so here's the list, 120 games. This list is getting absolutely massive. I know I'm not making episodes as fast as I used to, but we're eventually going to get up to 140 and we will do more tier listings. So we'll probably have another episode out this week, I think. The next couple of games, I think, are really interesting and not in a good way in all of those cases, but they'll be entertaining. So hope everyone has a great week and I'll see you soon. Bye.